We're here with Scott Stafford from SOS Exterminate today. And Scott, we've got a problem at this Image Home Improvement home that we just finished painting. We need to put all the pigeon controls back, or I should say pigeon deterrents, back on this house. Tell us a little bit about the different types of deterrents we're going to be put up on this home.
Well, we use basically some spiking to stop them from nesting and roosting in a specific area. And then we screened off all the partitions which overhang and leave shaded areas for the pigeons to build their nest in. We'll screen those off with a netting material that's got about a 10-year warranty on it. It's a real high nylon netting.
Now, what happens technically? I mean, why do pigeons look for these little nooks and crannies, so to speak, to nest in?
Well, basically they want to get themselves out of the weather. They want to be shaded. You know, obviously they want to sit on an egg in the middle of the sun. So they try to find shaded areas so that they can build their nesting. It's protected from the wind, the rain, and everything else.
With the homes that we do and the remodeling work we do, we see a lot of this pigeon damage and a lot of homes some people just really don't care about. But there is something to be said about not doing anything because they carry infectious diseases.
That's true. Yes, salmonella being one of the most common ones. They carry up to 60 diseases, and they also carry infectious insects, which carry diseases as well, such as lice, fleas, ticks.
Not to mention that the debris, we'll call it, that is left behind from all these pigeons can do serious deterioration to a roof surface, especially to shingles, as well as the underlayment under tile. And the pigeons really don't care whether it's a shingle roof or a tile roof. They just know it's shade.
Right, and the droppings will definitely destroy a structure over a period of time.
Okay, now, Scott, tell us a little bit about the deterrents that are going to be used on this home.
Okay, Steve, we're basically having to use a nylon netting material. It actually shapes and molds better and is not aesthetically that bad to the house versus the stuff that you pull down. You notice how you could see it from the street. It was silver. This is a black material. I think we're going to be using the 1-inch size or the 1.5 inch size. And to install it, you have to run a cable around where you want to put the netting in. Mm-hmm. And then you take the netting out and we have hog rings that attach it to the cable.
Right.
So you put it in around the top and then you pull it down tight and hog ring it in, trim it all out, and it looks really, really clean.
It blends really in.
Oh, yeah.
It'll blend in really well with this being that the shingles are dark anyway, so the passerby taking a quick glance probably won't even notice it.
They're going to know it's done by a professional and not just the homeowner do-it-yourself job.
You know, and that's one of the things that we see a lot of too. A lot of homeowners take issues into their own hands, but still, sometimes it just doesn't obviously look good. And when we go in and do, an exterior painting, all that stuff has to come down. Being that yours has that ring around and it can be tightened, it'll probably be easier to come off on the next painting instead of having to remove it and do it all over again.
Oh yeah, you can just cut the hog rings, it'll just drop out. You won't even damage the net, and then just refasten it.
Okay, now breeding cycles for pigeons. Any particular cycle, or are they just always making babies?
They're always making babies. They can lay an egg every 18 days.
Wow. No wonder there's so many population around. It's amazing.
They're as bad as the rodent population, as far as reproduction goes. The upside to a pigeon is they only lay 2 eggs. They're monogamous, so they don't go out and sleep around, so to speak. Mm-hmm. They have one mate for life, and once a pigeon's born at a specific location, it'll continue to return there. Like this particular application, there was pigeons up underneath there. That cycle of life, whoever did this got rid of the pigeon problem, and the pigeons went elsewhere.
Yeah, well, we noticed that they were here when we first started working on the house, and then I guess all the daily activities, they saw people around, so they didn't really come back much. We took the old deterrents down that the homeowner had put on by a handyman, or they pretty much stayed away pretty much for the time that we were painting. I don't know if it was can they smell the smell of latex paint? Would that be some way to keep them away?
That I don't know, Steve. I know that if you disturb them at nighttime, they aren't comfortable creatures. They're only going to be so comfortable with their environment. If you took their eggs away after they hatch them, they would probably go somewhere else and try to build a new nest. Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
they would know. But again, like humans, they feel comfortable in one area. Change is difficult for them.
Very difficult.
Very
Yep.
difficult. Tell our viewers a little bit about SOS and some of the other pests that you take care of.
Okay, well, basically we offer a wide area of services. We do weed control from the small residential properties to commercial 40-acre parcels. We do pest control, residential and commercial. We specialize in termite control and pre-treats for new construction, which is probably one of our biggest things right now with all the new home starts coming out and the inventory dropping out in the used home market. People are starting to buy new homes, so we're starting to do a lot of pre-treat.
Yeah, along the way in this particular property, we actually did find termites that we're going to be treating later once we have the pigeon deterrents all installed and under control.
Right.
And it was pretty bad because I noticed one track was actually hanging from the top of the entry door going into the house from the garage, and it was at least 6 inches long. So they've traveled up at least 7 feet, maybe a little over, and decided to tunnel down into thin air, but they don't know any better. But obviously they came out of the ground, so they've been there a while.
Yeah, and if anybody missed any of your other shows, we talked about termites.
Yeah.
And how quickly it takes them to build a tube. I mean, they could build a mud tube 2.5 inches in an hour's time. So 7 feet, they could get up there in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And those tubes that you see dropping out, they're basically exploratory tubes. They're searching for other food sources, and they just chew through the wood, and they don't really know they're suspended. They'll stop building them after a period of time. They keep falling off, and they'll rebuild it. It'll fall off, and they'll rebuild it, and then they'll just say, "Oh, we're going to keep going somewhere else."
Exactly. So it doesn't really make a difference whether you have a shingle roof, a tile roof. If you're in an area that you see pigeon droppings around, it is a very good idea from a health standpoint, if not just to get them. You don't want these pigeons nesting around your house, deciding to take up root in your neighborhood. So make sure that you call SOS. They will come out, they'll install netting, they'll install the spikes, they'll give you all the deterrents you need to make sure that your home is clean and free of these pests that are actually causing a lot of problems in a lot of different areas, and they're just better in somebody else's neighborhood. So make sure you take care of your home. How can they contact your team?
You can be found at sosexterminating.com or 480-497-1500.
Or you could find us online at imagehomeimprovementshow.com, or, and all else fails, pick up the phone, put it in your cell phone, 1-800-ASK-A-PRO, 1-800-275-2776. We'll take care of your pest control problem.